This episode is sponsored by Hydrodrug. Just kidding, it's not. But it should be. At Hydrodrug. What's up, Glory Gang? I'm Cari.
And I'm Brae.
And this is the Glory Girls Podcast. Let's roll that intro. Something's different about today, Brae.
What is it, Cari?
We're the Glory Girls, not the Glory Boys.
Oh my gosh.
If you can see behind us on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a beautiful sign that says The Glory Girls Podcast. If you're not watching on YouTube, go subscribe to us on YouTube, Glory Visuals. We drop 3 videos a week and we're the best. So check it out.
So most of you know who I am. If not, there's an episode titled Meet Brae. I think it's episode like 15 or something like that. If you want, go back, watch it, listen to it. But if not, here's a quick overview. So we all originally met at church. Mm-hmm. I am not from here originally. I moved here from Yankton. I was introduced to my city, went home, immediately loved it, went home, quit my job, moved here, and was on digital content team pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
That was the team that Darren and Austin oversaw. Mm-hmm. They taught me everything that I know now. And then a little over a year ago, they offered me a job to start working at Glory Visuals. But, Cari, who are you? They don't know you yet.
Yeah. So, a little bit of my backstory. I graduated college in 2019. I was like 23 years old and I was like, I'm going to move to Austin, Texas. And this was in obviously 2019. And then in, February, the world shut down because of COVID. And so I, in quarantine alone, that was when I found God, through my friend Hannah, who actually lived here and she still lives here. And she is like 100% the person that led me to God. I went to Catholic church when I was younger, but I never really had like a solid, any sort of religion. I had like spiritual beliefs, but so I'd never really gone to church, but I knew that I needed to find one. So I went to a couple of churches when they started opening back up in Texas, and nothing was just like it. And then over my birthday, I got to come home and visit, and I actually went to a different church here in Omaha, and I was like, oh, this is great, but it just wasn't quite what I needed. And then I lost my job while I was here, and I took that as a sign sort of from God to move home because I had no friends in Texas. I like let go of all my old friends. They were just partying all the time, and that was what I used to do, and I wasn't doing that anymore. And so I moved home, and within 3 weeks, and I started coming to my city right away. And I didn't start out serving on digital content, but it was actually a year ago, probably to this date. So last March, I joined digital content, and something pretty profound that I remember is we had a team training before I ever got the chance to serve on team. And I was listening to the song Available by Elevation Worship in my car, and I turned off my car and I went inside, and the same exact song right where I had stopped it was playing inside the building. And I know that sounds crazy or like I could be making it up, but I promise you that I am not. And it was insane for me. And if you know the song, it's like very profound. And so for the whole year, and obviously as Brae mentioned, like Darren and Austin were leading the team at the time. And for the whole year, I served faithfully on the team, and I learned everything I know now from Darren and Austin and everyone else on team, and Brae. Brae taught me a lot, and Ray, who works here now. We all came from church, but I learned everything I know. I started my own business for photography. I've done like weddings and family stuff and portrait shoots and all that great stuff. And then in December of 2021, I lost my job again. So that day that I lost my job, we had a marketing hang, and it was at the studio. And I got there and I told Darren, I was like, yep, I just lost my job, like literally an hour before. And little did I know, they were looking for someone to hire. And I was one of the people that they were talking about. And so when I told him that I lost my job, he was like, huh. And then I remember telling Callie, Austin's wife, she's one of my good friends, that I lost my job. And she's like, I think God's up to something. And I was like, okay. So I did not think of it like that at the time. And so then that Tuesday, so what is that, 4 days later, there was a shoot at church. So we have a headquarters building, and on Tuesdays we do My City U, which is just like Bible college, and that's what I do on Tuesdays. And Brae and Austin came to headquarters to do a marketing shoot for My City U. And that day they offered me a job, and it was just a God thing. Like,
it was perfect timing, which is so God.
Exactly. And I 100%, like right away I was like, yes, like I'm definitely taking this job. And it felt like I lost my job, like you said, at the perfect time, so I could work here. And so, so here I am now 3 months later. I've learned so much. I've learned how to use Photoshop. And I remember like 2 weeks ago, I was like trying to do something. I was like trying to select a mask, and I was like, I cannot figure this out. And then 2 days ago, I made like a super cool thumbnail. And so it's just cool. I've grown so much while working here. So I just think that just goes to show how strategic God is, because you and I both served first before. And obviously, like, that was never their intention. Like, they never planned to hire out of the church. But, I mean, it just happened because I just think that was God's will. And so it's also cool because we both get to do, like I was saying, we get to do what we love. When was the first time that you knew that you were interested in, like, film or videography or photography?
So actually when I was about 10 years old, I remember asking my parents for a camera for Christmas. I didn't really get one, but I did. It was just like a little like film camera that you had to work with and stuff. But yeah, I remember we went on like family vacation and I took it with me, and you'd have to go and like wait to get it developed and stuff. But so I remember asking for that, and then after a while it just kind of like went away. I got busy, did other things. But then it came back around, and when I was in high school, I started getting into photography again. I did a shadow class, or what, like you go to different businesses around town and you shadow them, and photography was one of the ones that I went for, along with a few other things, because I thought I wanted to be an eye doctor, but
nice.
No. 8 years of school? No.
No, thank you.
So shadowing that, and every single one of them told me not to go to school for photography. They said, if you're going to go to school, go for graphic design, because you can easily self-teach yourself photography. It's not hard to self-teach yourself that. Like, you can find any mentor, like, perfect example, us at church. Yeah. You walk in, like, almost none of our people on team have really held a camera before they got there. Yeah. So, I mean,
100%.
Easy example is us winning at church. Yeah. So I remember after I graduated, with all my graduation money, I went to buy my first like real camera. It was a Nikon, and I don't remember what the model was, but it was not a good camera.
Could you change the lenses?
You could change the lenses, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That didn't make it a good camera though.
Right.
But yeah, so I got my camera, and I marched myself off to college for graphic design, and that didn't...
How long did you go to college for?
2 years.
Nice.
My plan was go to 2 years, get my associate's degree, and then transfer, get my bachelor's.
Did you get it?
No.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is that I went to college for 5 years, and I have yet to use my degree, so...
Oh, I don't use my degree either.
Yeah. So, just saying.
Yeah. Well, after college, though, I was so done with anything creative. I was just, no, I'm done. I got burnt out on it.
Yeah.
And even when I first came to my city, that very first Sunday that I visited, I had absolutely no intention of picking up a camera. I didn't even know the team existed. Yeah. I remember the second Sunday that I was there. That's when I saw the guys shooting their cameras, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I want to do that. Like, that looks like so much fun. Yeah. And I remember I told my friend, I was like, I am not good enough to be on that team. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never really shot a photo before. All the ones that I had with my little Nikon weren't great. Okay. Like Lightroom, what was that?
Yeah.
I did all of my color correcting in Photoshop. It didn't look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, she looked at me and she's like, you don't have to be good enough.
Yeah.
They'll teach you everything. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember my grandpa had a film camera, but not the small one that I had. It was one of those big ones with the manual lens, interchangeable, all that. And I learned a lot on it. I still have a lot to learn on it because the first film roll that I ever got developed from it, almost none of the photos are you can't make anything out in them.
Yeah.
I think I learned how to focus. I didn't really know anything about shutter or ISO or anything like that. So yeah, they weren't great. Some of them were blown out. Most of them were too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving from inside to outside, I didn't really quite understand, but it really made me want to keep learning about it.
Yeah.
More so than a digital camera did. And I don't really know why.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Nikon kind of made me frustrated, actually. The film camera made me want to keep learning, and the Nikon actually made me want to be done. Because in my mind, I was like, well, the Nikon should be easier. It's digital. I should have no problem with this. Yeah. So that made me want to give up. What about you? Where did your passion for photography originate?
So all my life, I have wanted to take photos. I have always had a camera, whether it was one of those point and shoot cameras. I've had multiple in my lifetime. I've had a pink one. I had a silver one. I've always had a camera, and it was always my favorite thing. I would take selfies, but in my heart,
turn it around.
Exactly.
Guess to see where you are.
Exactly. Literally.
Yes.
But, when I was, I think I was 17 or 18, I took $250 to Target, and I bought a Nikon, but
wow.
But it was not, it was just a fancy looking point and shoot. It was not anything special.
No interchangeable lens.
Yeah.
No.
It looked like you could take the lens off, but you couldn't. And, I was in a phase in my life where I would start a lot of things because I didn't believe in God. And I think that plays a part when you're trying to figure out who you are. And so I would start a lot of things, and then I would never continue. So I used this camera for 3 weeks. And then after that, I used it to take selfies. Gosh.
That's kind of hard though.
Vulnerable
because
moment.
Even aside from that though, with just a regular point and shoot camera, it's very easy to lose interest.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to learn. There's nothing more to there's no settings to really mess with.
And just in reality, your photos aren't as good.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you're not getting like a great return on it. So I still I love to travel, and my heart's desire is to travel the world and take photos. And
same.
We're
Cari
going to do
and I are
it.
gonna travel the world
We're going to do it together.
We're going to take photos of everywhere.
Yes. I like to shoot for like National Geographic. Like, oh, that would be amazing. Just saying. God, if you're listening, which you are,
make it happen.
But yeah, it would. I would love that. And so I've always had that desire, like my whole life. And so honestly, being able to learn how to use a camera has been like a miracle. And to be able to do this full time has been like a miracle. And so it's really cool to be living that out. Brae, if you could travel anywhere, like tomorrow, to go shoot and like explore, where would you go?
Anywhere?
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question. Probably, that's so hard to answer.
I know. Okay. What about within
just one?
What about within the US?
Okay, within the US.
We'll start there.
I think one of the national parks.
Yes.
Because I love to hike. I could take my dog with me.
Yep.
Get some glorious pictures.
Yep.
Of everything.
Yep.
Yeah. If I had to pick a national park, I don't think I could.
Okay. Yeah. I want to go to White Sands.
Okay.
or the Salt Flats.
In January, right? When it's rainy. So everything's reflective.
I'm okay with whenever. What I want to do, I love
Just want to go so bad that you don't care when you go.
Well, okay. So the look of like desert is like amazing to me.
Yeah.
So I want to take like a model in like a really long flowy dress, and I want it to be like a little bit windy, but not windy to where there's like a sandstorm, and like take just like magazine photos.
Yeah. I want to go
like
sandboarding down the dunes. That sounds like so much fun.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Probably maybe also Glacier National Park, because it's semi-close. Mm-hmm. It's not like a whole 2-day drive.
Yeah. Okay. Brae.
I heard what I said. Why would you drive and not fly? Because I don't know. Just road trip. Road trips are fun.
Yeah, they are. It depends.
If you have the right people with you, and if you take the time to stop along the way, like, yeah, if you don't just drive all the way through, if you stop along the way, take in the sights, explore, you know,
100%.
Get like 12 trips out of your one trip.
Yeah.
It's great.
For sure. I agree.
Also, I hate airports.
Yeah.
Flying is great, but airports just suck.
I drove 21 hours to California one time. And if I had a camera, you bet.
That would have been a great trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember even thinking stuff like that. Like, oh, if only I had a camera.
I know.
But it's just great. So, Brae, what advice do you have for someone who wants to get started in videography, photography, whatever it may be? Maybe they're renting a camera or something from like Rockbrook. I know you can do that. Or they just got a camera and they don't know what they're doing, or something of the sort. What advice would you have for them just to get started if they don't have access to the community of church people or able to serve on a team? What would you say?
I would say find a group to be a part of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Facebook groups out there. There's a lot of different kinds of shoots that you can actually go to and learn from. You know, we're all part of Facebook groups. Don't underestimate good old YouTube University.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
100%.
Like, it's got everything you could possibly need to know on there.
100%. I agree.
Cari, do you have any advice for people for when their passion gets hard?
When it's hard to continue if you're frustrated, or even if you do start doing this for a living and you get burnt out, the best thing you can do is switch it up. Like, just try something new. Especially with burnout, I would say the best thing you can do is learn a new skill, shoot a different kind of photo, shoot a different kind of video. If you are doing photo and your camera has video capabilities, start learning how to do video. There are endless things that you can learn, like Brae said, on YouTube, but also, like she said as well, like, get around other people who are doing what you love, because when you're around people who are inspired and are excited about what they're doing, it's contagious. And I think that you will gain a new appreciation for what you're doing. And 2, don't be afraid to try new things, because half the time that's the battle, is you get afraid to step out and do something new. But the worst that could happen is you fall, and so you get back up, and really there's nothing on the line, so you might as well. But yeah, I think passion can sometimes get hard because life gets hard, and so you're not always going to have passion. But the reality is that I think you can always relight that flame.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Glory Girls podcast. We had a blast being here. I hope you found it entertaining, informational, valuable.
Whatever you want, honestly. It's great. And
even if you took a little bit from it, just 1 second.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And let us know how we did in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the things. We love your feedback. And yeah, we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.